What is going on, my beautiful LARPers and LARPettes? Today we're going to go over the brand new Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 Metal Performance Center Spec Series kit. Now that is a lot to say for this gun here, so I'm just going to call this the Spec Series, and the original M&P 2.0 Metal is right here on the table. Before I get into this gun, what is my relationship with Smith & Wesson? Smith & Wesson does send me out firearms for free, for review. No payment is involved whatsoever. They are kind enough to send this out before it is released, so I can go ahead and do my testing, and then I'll release it if they have an embargo date, or basically whenever the release date is out, I could go ahead and post it. Now this one is pretty exciting just because I really like the M&P 2.0 Metal. I like that they went complete different route compared to their other M&P series of handguns. So they have a full metal lower here. Now they went ahead and kind of revamped it even more and added some upgrades. So I'm going to go ahead and go over all of the upgrades and compare what the difference is between the Spec series and the original M&P 2.0. Now with that said, a quick thank you to my sponsor, Atlantic Firearms, for always sponsoring my YouTube endeavors. I really appreciate those guys. They go ahead and I have some AKs over there that I have purchased from the website, and I have a couple of other guns that I've purchased. I don't really have them around here. I have that RPK and AK-74. But anyways, go ahead and check out Atlantic Firearms. They're great people over there. They're always getting censored on Instagram and YouTube, so go ahead and show those guys some support. Let me go over what you're getting in the box itself when you purchase one of these Spec series. Starting right at the top of the box here, you have 3 different back straps. You have a medium, a large, and a, I think, small medium, or no, medium large. Medium large hands? I don't know. I'm a small hand, so I go for the small one automatically. Now moving on down, you get this really cool knife here. I'm not sure who makes this knife, but it is a very nice looking knife with some G10 handles there. I almost stabbed myself. I don't want to do that. And moving on down from the knives, you get 4 magazines, 2 17-rounders, flush fit mags, and you get 2 extendos right here. These are 23-rounders, so very, very cool. You guys that are going to use these for competitions, you're good to go on that. Or if you can do some sideways gangster shooting, you know, you can get those extendo clips. You do get the thread protector for when you want to take this compensator off. And you also get this nifty little challenge coin for the M&P Spec series. Kind of like what SIG is doing with their whole SIG Legion. But usually with the SIG Legion, you kind of have to submit to the Legion whatever program, and then they send you all this stuff. This you're kind of just getting right off of the bat. And lastly, you're getting your little optic, plastic optic plate, so you can go ahead and put whatever optic you want on here. Now that about does it for the box, guys. We're gonna go ahead and go over the Spec Series M&P 2.0. Now starting at the front here, you get a Faxon Firearms M&P compensator. This compensator is specifically made for the M&P series. It blends in with those lines very, very nice. But unfortunately, as you saw in the intro there, I was not running it with the compensator the whole video, or basically, yeah, the entire video. So what the issue is, and hopefully you guys can help me debunk this, because I have a theory, and we'll get into that in a second. But with this compensator and this firearm, I was having issues with cycling. So, ready? That didn't even pick up the next round. So as you can see, the slide's just not coming all the way back and picking up that next round. So my guess would just be to have a lighter recoil spring when you're running this compensator on there. With the magazine inserted, rounds full in there, I was shooting 115 grain Fiocchi, 124 grain Fiocchi, and 115 Blazer. I did not really try any other rounds because I didn't think I was going to have this issue out there. But unfortunately, there was an issue with it cycling fully. So it would shoot, and it would kind of do a half cock, eject that shell, and not pick up the next round. So in my head, I was like, okay, well, let me change magazines and see if that's the issue. So I used all 4 magazines. They did not work. Well, they work, but the issue was still there. So I tried the different types of ammo, and then I just decided, you know what, let me take off the compensator and see if that remedies anything. So I took off the compensator and it worked completely fine. Now I did tell myself, hey, you know what? Let me go ahead and shoot maybe 400 rounds through this thing while I'm uncompensated, so the compensator off of there, and see if that kind of breaks in the spring a little bit more, get a lighter feeling on that recoil spring. So I shot about 400 rounds or so, maybe less than that. But I did shoot a couple hundred rounds, and it was still not working when I put that compensator on. So I kind of just said, you know what, let me finish the intro for this video so that way I'm not spending a lot of time trying to figure out what's wrong with this thing. It did run about 800 or 900 rounds flawlessly with the compensator off of it. Now, before you click away from this video and say that the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 with this compensator on there is not going to work out for you just because I'm having that issue with the cycling, don't worry. I contacted Smith & Wesson. I said, hey, I'm having this issue. Do you mind sending me out a couple of springs to play with so that way I can go ahead and test out if the spring had anything to do with it? And lo and behold, it was the stock spring that I had in here that just was not allowing it to fully cycle back and forth. So I did go out the next night when I got the springs in. I tried the 3 springs that they sent to me, and they all worked completely flawlessly with that compensator on there. So I am no longer having issues with cycling with those new springs. So I have to ask Smith & Wesson what spring weights were they, or if they were just well broken in springs. But it is having a better time cycling with the same exact ammo that I was using out there.
Gas, dude.
I did contact another YouTuber that I really trust in the industry, Mr. Guns and Gear. You probably heard of him. But anyways, I asked him, hey, did you ever have any issues with your spec series not cycling certain ammo? And he said, nope, it ran completely fine, no issues whatsoever. So not really sure what's going on with that original spring. I'm going to go ahead and still cycle a bunch of rounds through it. So maybe it'll break in a little bit more. Maybe there's a certain break-in period for mine, but from what he was saying, out of the box, it was running completely fine with similar ammo like mine. With that said, performance-wise, that compensator shoots extremely flat on this M&P 2.0 spec series here. So I am really glad that they went the route of putting this compensator on there. Looks super sleek and also super effective when it comes to the performance behind it. Now moving on back, you get True Glow H3 night sights, but they are suppressor height sights, or tall sights is what they call them on the website. This is so that way when you put your optic on here, you can co-witness through the optic, which is a really nice touch. The original M&P 2.0 metal did not come with that, so I'm glad that they went this route, and it's still the core system, or the CORE system on the optic mounting option there. Now moving on to the barrel itself, this is chambered in 9mm and it is 4.8 inches long with a threaded front end there that is threaded in 1/2 by 28, so you can go ahead and put a compensator, or you could even get it suppressed if you wanted to do that. Now the slide is going to be where you're going to see a lot of difference between the original metal and the spec series. So they did add some lightning cuts around here. So you got a port up here, you got a port here, and you got a port here, or window cuts. I'm not going to say port. So you got a window cut, window cut, window cut. Moving on, you get the serrations. The serrations is another big difference between the two. If you'll notice on the M&P 2.0 metal here, the original one, you'll see that it has the same exact design as all the other 2.0s out there with the polymer frames. But this one, they kind of went with like a straight cut, and they are actually more aggressive feeling than the cuts that are on the 2.0 metal here. I actually like this design a little bit more. This one kind of reminds me of like fish gills in a way. Nothing wrong with them. I just like the more straight cut design on here. And again, super functional, super aggressive. The frames on these two are exactly the same. I'm not seeing any difference whatsoever on these two. You got the same 1913 rails, the same exact ergonomics on these. The grips are very, very grippy. Actually, come to think of it, I feel like the plastic grip on this one, the front and the back, feel a little bit more aggressive than this one. Maybe because I did shoot maybe 2,000 rounds out of this thing, and I have been using it quite a bit. So maybe it's just worn down compared to a newer gun, but this one right now feels more aggressive than this one over here. The slide release, the takedown lever, and the mag release are all the exact same on the Spec series compared to the 2.0 metal. Moving on to the trigger is exactly the same as the one in the M&P 2.0 metal, but on the Spec series, I would guess, and again, I was reading up a little bit on it, and I feel like they did do some work to the trigger itself in terms of the internals, maybe polishing it a little bit more. Since it is a performance center model, they usually do a little bit more polishing work and performance work to the performance center, right? So this one does feel a little bit more crisp and a little bit more smoother on that pull and reset compared to the 2.0 metal here. This one, again, nothing wrong with it. I can just definitely tell the small difference on this trigger here. Now, lastly, you get this beautiful OD green matte color on here. I think is very, very beautiful on this gun. And on the original one here, you got a gray Cerakote that was a little bit more slicker than the matte here. To me, I love this color because, as you saw in the video, my Forerunner is the same exact color, so it matches my Forerunner really, really nice. But that's pretty much it, guys. The M&P 2.0 Metal Spec Series Performance Center. I kind of mix all those words up a little bit there, but you get the point. Very cool offering from Smith & Wesson. I believe this is a limited run. So again, you're gonna have to make haste if you're going to pick one of these up, because who knows if they're gonna offer this package again. The only thing that I would be wanting on this whole package deal would be a magwell. I think a magwell in a competition gun or competition-centered type gun would be a really, really nice option to have, just because you will have the option of taking that off if you want to shoot carry optics, or putting that on if you, for some reason, are feeling lucky and putting the compensator on here with that magwell and gonna shoot open with those raced out open gun guys. But it's just more options with that magwell on there. But what do you think about the M&P Spec Series 2.0 metal performance center here? Do you think it's a great offering from Smith & Wesson? Do you think that the price for this firearm is worth all the accessories that you're getting in there? Or do you think it's something that, you know what, I'm gonna skip it and go ahead and buy a threaded barrel and get that compensator and get 4 extra or 3 extra mags, or 2 23 round magazines, and get suppressor height sights and all the other goodies that you get with this thing? So do you think all that is worth it to get this over this, or should you just go straight to this one here? And let me know what you think about that issue I was having with the compensator. Was it me? Was I limp wristing? Was I just a noob at shooting this gun? To me, I don't really think so, because I shoot a lot of handguns. So thank you guys so much for sticking around. I appreciate you all. Love you all. Catch you in the next one.